So staying with us, Queen Elizabeth II has bid farewell to her husband Prince Philip at a royal funeral like no other. Coronavirus restrictions meant that only 30 people could attend that service today. The Duke of Edinburgh, who died a week ago at the age of 99, was interred in the Royal Vault at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Our reporter in the UK is Ollie Barrett, and he attended the service. Ollie joining us now live. And Ollie, the Duke of Edinburgh had said he wanted a scaled-back royal funeral when the time came, and that's what he got today.
It was a pared-back ceremony from what it would have been under normal, non-pandemic circumstances, but nonetheless there was a huge amount of ceremonial events going on before the service. We saw hundreds of military figures in the quadrangle of Windsor Castle, all sections of the UK military represented, and some of these specific regiments that Prince Philip had direct connections with. He was very proud of his own military service and retained those connections with the military after he left the Navy to marry Princess Elizabeth, as she was then, and join the royal family. And so he wanted to see all of that reflected, and indeed it was. But in terms of the guests that could be here in Windsor, only 30 of them. They all had to wear masks, including the Queen herself. She had to sit on her own during the service, and I think that is an image that will become one of the iconic images of the funeral that was held here in Windsor today. The 94-year-old widowed Queen sitting on her own, masked up in St George's Chapel, mourning her husband.
And the people of the UK who have been mourning Prince Philip were asked ahead of the service today not to go to Windsor or any of the other royal households because of COVID-19 restrictions and the rest of it. I'm wondering then how they marked this solemn occasion.
You're absolutely right that the period of mourning now, the official period of mourning for the country, comes to an end at this point. Things like government engagements and press conferences can start again. Television programming will return to something more like normal. People were told not to come out to Windsor today because there was nothing to see. It was all behind closed doors at Windsor Castle, in the grounds of the castle, which St George's Chapel is. But hundreds of people did come out nonetheless. They wanted to pay their respects in person, even if they weren't actually going to see anything like a procession on the streets of the town. And I think you're right as well that it will have resonated with many people who have perhaps lost loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic, to see the royal family also observing the same restrictions that they would have had to at their funeral, not thinking that they could be amended in some way because they are the royal family, sticking to the rules, setting an example. A poignant reminder, I think, from the royal family here in the UK that this is something that they've wanted to do throughout this period, follow the rules like everyone else and make sure they're not seen as different in that regard.
And as you say, the national period of mourning now having come to an end with the burial of Prince Philip, but I would imagine outside the official mourning period, the royal family will then still have to observe certain traditions, if you will, during this period.
Of course, and we shouldn't forget that this is a family that is in mourning. This is a woman who has lost her husband of 70-plus years, so difficult times ahead for the royals. We understand that going forward, royal engagements will continue. The royal period of mourning actually lasts a little bit longer than the national. They were separated for the procession before the service, and that led to some speculation that perhaps they were being kept apart because they're still not getting on. Well, they did have that conversation afterwards, and the siblings appeared to be in good spirits, or at least on good terms.
So the Queen then, just as you say, Ali, maybe the head of the family, but when you look at the younger generation in princes, William and Harry, who have, at least from what we're reading, a very strained relationship, there's likely to be a lot of conversation about the future of the monarchy.
Yes, there is. And one of the things that has been talked about a lot over this last week or so in this country is actually that Prince Philip himself was one of the great modernisers of the royal family, who always recognised that they needed to change and adapt to modern life or they would be left behind. That has been passed down to Prince Charles, who we know wants to slimline the monarchy and slimline the royal family so that it is those senior royals who are seen most often who are carrying out the bulk of those public engagements. Harry, of course, has stepped back from that now and will continue in a slightly different role, but I think we should expect to see much more of Prince Charles in the coming months and years, much more as well of Prince William. The Queen is 94 years old herself, let's not forget. She will not be able to continue with such a rigorous schedule as she has at the moment forever. During the pandemic period, a lot of her engagements have been carried out online, of course, which makes it easier for her. But I think those in-person royal engagements, we're going to see more and more of Charles and Camilla and William and Kate in particular.
Ollie Barrett, live for us on the streets of Windsor. Thank you.